Looking for some new podcasts to listen to? Well, Rat Salad Review Network has plenty of shows to choose from. Like Rat Salad Review, where they discuss the latest rock and metal news, as well as interviews and albums. Album vs. Album, the King Diamond Podcast, with Wayne Noon, Greg Noggle, and sometimes this guy.
Smack 'em a gob!
Ralph Vieira is also on our network with the Vieira Vault. There's also Old Man Metal's Musings, where he discusses heavy metal and beer. Music is Life with Lou Mavs. The Right Opinion for those who love politics. A South Park podcast called Suck My Balls. The Infinite Fringe, a watch-along wrestling show called Beyond Bushido. Ex-Stradivarius guitarist, the Timo Tolkki podcast. And the Great Harry Barnett with I Don't Even Like Podcasts. So check out ratsaladreview.com or search Rat Salad Review on YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. So, Nate, since you don't have the headphones, and I have to remind you, don't talk over everybody, otherwise we won't hear you. Got it?
Yeah, I gotcha.
All right, good. All right, ready? Here we go. He's got to be frozen like that. And with that, welcome to Rat Salad Review, album versus album. Hello, guys.
It's the Tech Threat three-way.
That's right.
Yeah, I was going to say I thought this was three-way thrash, but whatever. Well, I guess technically it is album versus album.
Fuck it.
Well, we have a guest here. What's
Hello.
up, What's up, Evan?
Hey, not much. How's it going, guys?
Not bad at all. You are in the band with Nate. You are the guitarist, and I always forget the name of the band.
Major Malfunction.
Thank you. I knew it was something with an M.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a friend. I've got a fan.
One, at least
Good.
one, right?
Yeah. Really.
I just can't believe Wayne doesn't remember it because of, Full Metal Jacket. I mean, that's one of the greatest, most memorable movies ever. But you know what they say, only sailors and faggots are named Wayne.
Ouch.
Good night, everybody. We'll be doing the show with two new people. If anybody wants to submit a resume.
What's the difference?
Goodbye.
And he says Lawrence in the movie.
Come join the Navy.
I've never seen it.
Really?
You haven't
seen Full Metal Jacket? You really should. It's one of the best war movies ever done.
Oh, it's
I'm the worst one to ask if I've ever seen a movie.
Yeah, you really are. Honestly.
That sounds like a challenge. Dude, I haven't seen shit, so no worries.
Yeah, all right, good. I'm not alone then.
I watched a lot of movies.
Yeah. You got nothing else to do.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I actually just watched Oh.
Nate has left the chat.
Thank God. Now the show just got better. All right. What happened?
I think he
I went off to blow my nose.
Yeah.
Thanks,
I
Greg.
got like a weird head cold today.
You got a little, there you go. I'm keeping that in.
Go for it.
All right. No, I know you don't care. All right, Nate. I let you pick again, and this time you pick 3 albums.
I hope you enjoy it a little more this time, Wayne.
Well, I own all these albums this time, so
okay, that
we're
does
good on
help.
this one. Yeah.
Well,
good.
The initial idea was, I like Megadeth, but I'm not a big fan of Marty Friedman. And here's 2 guitar players I would much rather see in Megadeth than Marty Friedman. Craig Cicero of Forbidden and Jeff Waters of Annihilator.
That is a very good. I would like to see that too. Right? That's just that'd be interesting.
Bro, could you imagine 5 Magics with Jeff Waters?
Yeah, I could. He would definitely fit in Megadeth very well. Did he ever try out for Megadeth?
No, Dave asked him, and he wanted to stay with Annihilator, which is a shame because Never Neverland isn't like Annihilator's last really good album.
I'm gonna argue with that, but if you say so.
I don't know. It's their
I agree.
Punch to it, like any kind of bite. The guitar play is always great with Annihilator. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, it always is, but there's a reason Annihilator is mentioned in a breath as an also ran band. It's because they really couldn't get their shit together most of the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And the riffs end up usually saving the songs.
Right.
And whoever he has writing the lyrics is sometimes pretty bad.
Oh, Kraft Dinner is great.
Kraft Dinner's amazing. What are you talking about?
Kraft Dinner.
I want Kraft Dinner!
That all stands
Macaroni
for the Canadian national anthem.
Well, Nate,
Dinner is killer. I fucking love that song.
I mean, you go from a song that's about, like, you know, some, like, child's fairy tale to, you know, like, fucking mac and cheese, and then, like, how can you get any better than that?
Going straight into Phantasmagoria is how it gets.
Yeah.
Really.
That
All right,
fucking
Nate.
guitar work could just... Oh, my God.
I know, right? Yeah. Marty, I got to say it right here, though, that as a guitarist, Jeff Waters can shred circles around everyone else in this list. Like, don't get me wrong, they're all really good guitarists, but Jeff Waters is just on a whole nother level. Like, he has the technical skill. I think that you see in Craig LaCicero, but the problem with his guitar playing, it just sounds like a bunch of finger exercises. You know, and whereas like Marty Friedman, he's throwing in all these like, you know, really cool, weird scales, but it's not like your typical thrash lead. Whereas Jeff Waters, you know, has kind of the basics down, but he goes so far beyond like what is kind of standard in this genre and just goes nuts.
Yeah.
Well, what I wanted to comment on is Jeff and Dave's really similar rag lead. Like, they both have very similar ways that they dive into the solo.
I think they have they have very similar approaches to writing solos, but it's like comparing a jazz guitarist to a classical guitarist and asking them to kind of play the same thing. Like, you're ultimately going to get something similar at the end of the day, but they're going to have two very different approaches to it.
Well, it's like asking a jazz guitarist and a classical guitarist who's also a jazz guitarist.
Yeah.
Like, Jeff Waters has just got some innate light fingers that just, they barely touch, and everything lands at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Yet all got that cadence and feel to it.
Yeah, it's clear that he has a very, for lack of a better term, robust and kind of very big pool of music that he's pulling from, pool of influences that he's pulling from. Because there are a lot of very creative leads, you know, on this record especially, and even Alice in Hell, you know, like you expect kind of a debut album to be like, you know, kind of like a boring, middle of the road, just here's us album. No, it's completely different.
That's got Human Insecticide. That's like the fastest Canadian thrash song.
Yeah, that's my point right there. It's such a memorable album, and they really hit the ground running, you know, with that, and it mostly had to do, I think, with Jeff Waters' guitar work, his songwriting, and even his singing, too. Just all those elements come together so perfectly on those two records.
Yeah, it was actually surprising to pick that one over Neverland.
Well,
actually,
Alice in Hell came out in '89.
Yeah.
These are all from
1990.
All right, you got me. You got me. So for people that can't see the video, for our podcast listeners, what albums did you pick, Nate?
I picked Neverland by Annihilator, Twisted into Form by Forbidden, and Rust in Peace by Megadeth.
Megadeth, Annihilator. Actually, I got the 2 CD version of the Annihilator thing. But
Nice.
all right, so
Since we've already been talking about Annihilator,
let's continue with Annihilator.
Mm-hmm.
Fun Palace, probably my least favorite intro track out of all three of these albums.
Really?
I mean, I really like Holy Wars, and I really
Of course.
like the vocals on Infinite are insane.
Yeah.
And Holy Wars is Holy Wars. It's one of Megadeth's classics, you know? Fun Palace, I don't even like it as much as, Alice on Hell, you know?
It seems like kind of a cheap knockoff in a way, you know. There's similar approaches to, you know, how they arrange the song. Yeah.
The lyrics really are not great.
Same with that, and never, like, the title track, too, like, get back, leave me alone, take that, and that, I'll break your every bone. I just wanted to laugh. Like, that had to be like
I like that more, though, because, that's just being Canadian.
Yeah, I mean...
But I actually like the Fun Palace. That's actually the first Annihilator song I ever heard.
Really?
Yeah, they played it on a college radio station I used to listen to. And
not a bad song.
No. But they played it, and I didn't know who it was, and I didn't really like the song that much. But then, because I used to record all the shows, just in case it was good songs, and I did kind of like that one, so I kept it. And then over time, they never announced who the band was, so I never knew. It was probably like 5-6 years until I figured out it was Annihilator, because we were on the Heart of Metal message board at the time, and I showed it to people on there, and they're like, "Oh, that's Annihilator." So then I finally found out what it was, and I bought the album, and I like that song. I don't know. I think it's a good opener. That's one of my favorite Annihilator songs. I guess because that's what I heard first,
Yeah, and I can understand that. And I would never say...
So it's one of your favorite Annihilator songs, but you just got done saying you didn't really like it that much. You only liked it.
It grew on me. Yes, I didn't like it at first because it was strange. I didn't really like the vocals when I first heard it, and then there's a lot of weird things going on in the song. I don't know. It's got some weird stuff in it, but over time, like anything else, you gotta sometimes just get into it, by listening it over and over and over again.
Sure.
I always thought that Annihilator out of these three was probably the easiest to get into right away. Just because it's so catchy and so well written, it's basically like, a pop, like he's almost writing a pop song, with every song, and it's just, it digs your way into your brain.
But not in the way Marty Friedman is.
No.
I'm just making that distinction there, because Marty Friedman's a very pop guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Megadeth's 90s career after this.
Yeah. But we're just talking about Rust in Peace right now, though. That is probably the opposite of that. That's when, things are kind of at their, max, probably maximum, just creative flow with Megadeth, They pushed this very spastic approach to songwriting to its, full potential, and they couldn't go any further after that.
Right.
So it makes sense they had to go pop.
Yeah, actually, this is my first Megadeth album too, Rust in Peace, and just from the first song, Holy Wars, I was hooked. And Hangar 18 was the first one I heard. I heard it on Headbangers Ball. They were doing that live in Rio, I think it was. And when I heard Hangar 18, I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome, and really got into the band.
See, I always thought it was Megadeth's most overrated album out of the big three great Megadeth albums, which are Killing Is My Business, Peace Sells, and Rust in Peace. It's I like Holy Wars as an opener. It's a great opener, but it's still not as good as Love You to Death or
it's kind of almost like two different bands, really.
Yeah. Well, it really.
I mean, actually, it is because But
I like Nick Menza at some points, and then there's some points where he's just playing a really weak he would work a lot better in a band like Maiden, because he drums a lot like Clive Burr or Les Binks. But it really doesn't work for Megadeth.
Yeah,
at least not all the time.
I'm going to agree to disagree with that one right there. I think his kick work is amazing, actually. I think that what Nick Menza does really well is he knows how to back up a song. Mustaine can throw pretty much anything at him, and he chooses something really interesting to put behind it.
And I mean, that happens later in the album, but just, the album doesn't really get going for me until, Poison Was the Cure. Or even,
Take No Prisoners?
Take No Prisoners is great, but it's then it's Five Magics, and Five Magics is, I mean, the opening's cool, where it's, all guitar-y and polyrhythmy, but then it just turns into a Metallica song. And it's that's not what I want from Megadeth.
No, you're wrong. Five Magics is fucking awesome. I remember listening to that in fucking high school, and everybody was so obsessed with that song.
Five Magics starts out super boring. If they cut that intro down by half, it'd be such a great song. But I still love David Ellison's bass playing.
Yeah. David Ellison's the highlight of that song.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Poison Was the Cure is my favorite song off of this album because it sounds the most like the first album.
Really? That's another one where they needed to cut the intro down a little bit. Like if
I agree, but that
it's half the length of the fucking song.
Yeah, really.
Love
But then the rest of it is just such a blitzkrieg and so tightly written too.
And I really like Nick Menza's drumming there because it sounds a lot like Gar, and like, you know, he's got a lot more snare work going.
It's just so spastic and frantic, and it really matches the rest of the song well. That has to be the most cohesive song.
The first beat he does on the verse there is really lame, but the beat he does on every other verse in the song is really great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't see it. I think this is his best drumming that he's done. Because after this, the whole band starts going down.
Megadeth becomes a radio rock band after
right.
this.
Yeah. I mean, I love the next album.
I like it. It's not what I want from Megadeth. Hangar 18. I hate the first half of the song. I love the second half of the song.
Yeah, because the second half gets crazy with all the solos going back and forth. So that's the best part.
Let's see, am I in tune? Yeah, just for you, Nate.
Wow,
I like it.
Like, some of the riffs in this kind of lack, like Lucretia, like, it's good as an intro, but that whole clean guitar bit does not work as a driving riff in the song.
I think that song out of any is really what was a harbinger to come in terms of Megadeth's career, where you have this very sort of sideways approach to riffing, but he's trying to write pop songs.
Right. Kind of
basically. Kind of like what?
Cryptic Writings.
Yeah, very much so, like Cryptic Writings and Risk too.
Yeah.
But it just really doesn't work in that context, you know.
Right. I mean, I like Dawn Patrol too, and I like Tornado of Souls. Tornado of Souls is cool. Like,
Tornado of Souls is great.
Tornado of Souls from being my favorite song on this record are those god awful fucking vocals. I fucking hated Dave's vocals on that song with a passion.
Really?
I think he sounds fine. He sounds like he usually does.
Like,
Are you listening to the remastered version?
No, I got a version from like 2003 now that was still on Capitol.
All right, good. Because I went to listen to this on the Amazon app.
Oh no, the
all they have now.
Way worse.
All they have now is the remastered ones. I'm like, where's the original?
It's so bad.
And I thought it was
remasters.
I thought they were decent at first, and then when I listened to it again today, I'm just like, this is just terrible. Like in Five Magics, where he fixes that middle part where he's like has that growly voice, or whatever it is. It's terrible. Why would you change it to that?
I've never bothered with the remaster.
Don't.
In peace.
Right, put the regular vocal. Yeah.
Yeah, he like switches
Peace
around.
sells, and especially So Far So Good So What pissed me off so bad I took them back and got my money back. And
the first remaster to Killing's the Business was needed because that album sounded like shit.
I like the original, but I like both of the remasters. But also on Dawn Patrol, they added a guitar in there. They didn't need that. It sounded cool with the bass and the drums and the vocals.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have a guitar.
No, it didn't at all.
No. They did add My Creation, which is a cool song.
Yeah, they did. But if anybody's watching, do not get the remasters and remixes.
No.
Just stick with the original Capitol version.
Yes, it's bad. The remasters, like most Megadeth remasters, is awful. Yeah. It's like the George Lucas of metal remasters.
Yeah.
But even the last song, Rust in Peace, Polaris, that's another awesome song. That song's great.
That's one of my
with the way the
favorite
drums
ones
start.
on the record.
Yeah.
That's probably my second
badass.
or third favorite song on the album. It'd probably be Poison Was the Cure, Holy Wars, Rust in Peace.
Yeah. I love this album. This is like the start of my Megadeth journey, so I can't say nothing really bad about that album at all.
One of my favorites.
I don't really have any
Still good
problems
album.
with it. I mean, Five Magics is probably the only song I would say isn't quite up to the quality of the other ones. It just gets kind of boring at some points, but even that song I love.
Yeah.
There's nothing really bad to be said about this. I like Nick Menza's drumming on here. He didn't really bother me. He served his purpose pretty well.
Coming from So Far So Good So What, Nick Menza was like a breath of fresh air because it was almost back like Gar was back in the band.
Well,
No.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yes.
you know,
Not exactly, but he didn't
Chuck
play.
was just Gare's tech, and
Right.
you know, he wasn't really super skilled or special or anything. I think they just picked him because he knew the songs and he was functional.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
you
like
know, when you're spending all your time and effort on that much heroin, you can't really be bothered to look for the best drummer around.
Right. God damn it.
Yeah.
Heroin ruins Megadeth. It's fucking
Heroin made some of the best Megadeth and also kind of ruined it. But
it rotted Megadeth.
As far as Dave screwing up
made
things with Megadeth based on something he's done, I think being a born again hurts her career a lot more than the heroin did.
People play The Conjuring. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, that does hurt a little bit.
It's like Blackie Lawless not playing "Fuck Like a Beast." Oh,
that's literally my favorite Wasp
You're an
song.
idiot. Well, you know, them not playing that as the encore is like Sabbath not doing Paranoid. It's
like Metallica
their signature
not playing
song.
Enter Sandman because they're a bunch of meth heads. They can't fucking sleep.
Greg, I mean, we kind of skipped over a little bit. We went right into the Megadeth thing, but do you want to say anything about Neverland?
Well, yeah, we really didn't go through the whole record. That's why I was a little confused there.
We just skipped right over.
We're comparing all three of them at once, kind of.
But I like the Annihilator record. I don't like it as much as Alice in Hell, which something Evan said I actually thought was kind of interesting. You were saying first albums you felt was just kind of an intro and here I am thing. Most of the time, like with Annihilator here, I find the first album is the more better written and rehearsed one because they've had years to do this with these songs. And then the second one kind of suffers. But Neverland's a little different because a lot of their early songs from the demos are split between Alice in Hell and this one. And I first heard this because the video for Stonewall was on MTV at one point, which, even though that's one of their most accessible poppy songs on here, I like Stonewall a lot.
I think musically Stonewall has to be the most interesting because it is meant to be very poppy and accessible, but they figured out how to throw in a lot of creativity and a lot of complexity into the song in a very creative way. Like, you know, the chords behind the solo are just spectacular. And Jeff Waters himself, too, said that the record company asked them to write, like, you know, a more commercial song. So he said he wanted to, you know, kind of rip off a bit of AC/DC and combine that with some Exodus, you know, so he throws it to the record company and they're like, what the hell is this? This isn't a ballad.
No.
But yeah, they make it for it anyway. And it spends like, 2 months on Headbangers Ball.
Yeah, something like that. And I believe the single entered the charts, at least in Canada, probably not in the United States. But
fucking Canada.
Yeah. But, and what's interesting is that's done so well and it's so fully formed. It's disappointing when you get to a song like the title track, and all that really saves it or makes it interesting is the solos and the riffs.
Yeah.
There's just too much extra shit in the rest of the song, and they sound like he hadn't really decided what he wanted to do with any of it yet.
Yeah, and I mean, the riffs and guitar work being my favorite part of metal really saves Annihilator as a band for me. But, like, I mean, you get the songs like Imperiled Eyes and Phantasmagoria and Reduced to Ash and just all these unbelievable 24-bar, 26-bar guitar pieces where he just keeps adding fucking pieces and then doing the same part again at a different scale or, like, further up the neck, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, Phantasmagoria is probably my favorite song on here.
He never loses steam, really.
Yeah. He has a very mechanical approach to his guitar playing, too. Like, I mean, he is on every beat. Like, he plays like a computer, and it's amazing.
Yeah, but he's still got that back forth, like any good player with feel.
Exactly. Yeah, he doesn't have to sacrifice one or the other, and it's, still super interesting to listen to it. It's not just listening to R2D2.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, how often do you find a guitar player that gets both?
Exactly. Yeah. See, that's why I had Mupp join the band.
Yeah, exactly.
Mupp's our other guitarist. He's like, punky as hell.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha. No, I thought you were talking about Annihilator for a second. I was like, who? But
No.
Yeah, but Jeff Waters, he's been able to keep the band alive forever by himself, and now he's doing all the instruments pretty much on his own. So, he's fucking awesome. Except for, I don't think he plays drums though, right?
No.
No.
But yeah, there's some cool songs on here. The Fun Palace is my favorite, obviously. Sixes and Sevens I like a lot. Neverland.
That's funny because Sixes and Sevens is the other one I was gonna name, where I couldn't tell you what any of the fucking lyrics are because they're dumb. The rhythm line is boring as shit, but he fucking rips it up on the guitar during that song. And
that's what helps these albums, man. It's Jeff Waters' guitar stuff, and it's what it helps the albums because the lyrics are corny as shit all the time, pretty much.
There's definitely a guitar player.
Yes, Craft Dinner. I don't like that song. You guys like that song.
What is wrong with you? That is the best song of the album. Yeah, that's why it's amazing.
Dinner is awesome.
Yeah, you are wrong.
I am wrong.
Go to your room, Wayne.
All right.
Craft Dinner is like the institutionalized of this album.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good song though. Phantasmagoria is a good one, and I'm in Command is a good one too.
Phantasmagoria, just from a conducting standpoint and from like an arrangement standpoint, is spectacular. That fucking layered guitar about 2/3 of the way in the song. I love it when Jeff Waters layers guitar because it really shows his skill in composition.
Yeah. Road to Ruin 2 is kind of a sleeper song for me. Like, that's one that I did not get at all when I first heard the album, and now I fucking love it so much.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving presents to you a heavy metal song.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Bro.
Yeah.
Exodus did it way better on Impact is Imminent with the title track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just wish he just had a better lyric writer. That's all.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the music is awesome and really fun to listen to.
Right.
Pretty much on any album, Annihilator album, you really get music's usually always good.
The guitars
I'm gonna
are always good.
Beer if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
What's that?
The guitars are always good, I will say. I cannot say the music completely because there is a lot of boring shit from the backing band on a lot of Annihilator songs.
Yeah, of course.
And that's really why I've never gotten into them, anything they've really done past 1993.
The new stuff that he's been doing lately it's been really good. He's been singing. Yeah, I like his vocals. I like how he's singing and everything. And, he's still playing the same music and everything. So
yeah, he sounds all right.
He's good. He's cool to me. I don't know. I like him.
Yeah.
I'm still fairly new to Annihilator. I've only been listening to him for not too long. I don't know how long. Long enough.
I got the first two, and then I can't remember the name of the one that fucking follows this. I know Phoenix Rain was the name of the single from it.
Yeah, I love that song. And there's the funny thing about that album, the vocalist has a lisp.
Set the World on Fire. That's what it's called.
Yeah. It's a good album, and I actually like that singer. He's really good. And I wish they would have kept with him, but I don't know why he left. But throughout their whole career, they've had singers come and go. So.
Oh, really King of the Kill actually came out after that one. I had that backwards. Yeah, so King of the Kill was the last one I really liked, and I actually thought Set the World on Fire was kind of lame for most of it. But.
Yeah, it wasn't as trashy as the previous albums are. All right, we're going to edit this show right here at 35:53.
No, there was one, I'm trying to remember what it was called, but there was one that came out, Wayne, that they used to go nuts for back on the Heart of Metal board, and it was a new album at the time, and it's just called Metal. God, that record sucks.
That record's boring, but it's not awful.
It's very shit. It's very, like, almost industrial sounding-ish. in a way, if I'm thinking of the right album.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I think
it's very plotting. It's not a good record.
Yeah, no,
Schizo Deluxe wasn't too bad.
No, that one was pretty good. I like some songs
the one that came before it, but
that's what I'm thinking of.
But still, I mean, if I was doing a list of like top thrash guitarists, Jeff Waters would definitely be in there. But on the same token, if I was going to do top thrash bands, Annihilator wouldn't be anywhere near the top 10.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
That's why I was using Megadeth.
I don't even think they'd make the top 20.
Me neither. That's why I was using Megadeth. Because I put them number 1 on thrash guitar players. Just in sheer ability.
You know,
sorry to leave you guys. What I missed?
Even just his guitar playing,
but we kind of stopped it, so I'm not gonna wait till we get over with this, and then I'll restart.
I think Jeff Waters would have made Megadeth just really interesting because he has such a clear, refined approach to writing music. I think it would have helped out Dave with some of the sloppiness he falls into sometimes. And even if they did go popular, like they still probably would have, I think those records would have been better if Jeff had been there.
Who knows, too? I personally love the first 4 Megadeth albums because Dave's composition style is just so, like, left of the dial. It's so freaking weird. He's like, mashing parts together that you just don't think would work together, but he somehow makes it work just out of sheer willpower.
I mean, that's why I think Jeff Waters could have been in there, too, is because he's really good at writing transition licks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't want to hear him on any of the first 3, honestly. Just, I'm thinking more maybe Rust in Peace, and then after that.
Yeah. No, I still want Alice in Hell to exist.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff Waters, I don't think he would have been a good fit for Rust in Peace, though, just because his guitar playing, at least his approach to scales and stuff like that is so straightforward, whereas Marty Friedman is just so wild with it. Like, he's throwing in all these Middle Eastern scales and all these really creative, licks and runs.
It really fits with the theme of the album, too.
Yeah. He really accentuates Dave's guitar playing, and it just seems like, Dave always writes really complicated rhythms, but Marty Friedman kind of takes that and really builds off of it, whereas most other guitarists, and I'm guessing especially Jeff Waters, would probably be playing against that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the exact opposite. I think Marty Friedman is, like, fighting Dave's, like, kind of natural speed every step of the way.
I'll grab another cigarette.
Yeah.
Like, even your songs off So Far So Good So What, like Hook and Mouth, that are really quick like that, it's like, I think Marty Friedman really killed the speed of the band.
I don't know. I think that Marty Friedman and Dave Mustaine have a really interesting tension going on between the two of them as guitarists. Just because it seems like
tension as much as I like harmony between guitar players.
Yeah, that's true, but why are you such a big Voivod fan then?
Well, there's only one guitar player in Voivod.
Yeah, that's true, but, Piggy creates so much tension in of himself, and it's kind of interesting to see these two people, like, it's not like they're on different pages, it's just that they have such different approaches to what they're doing, and it kind of makes it really interesting seeing how they, like, on Hangar 18, the way they sort of ping-pong back and forth.
I don't know. I think it's like trying to run through, like, mud. It's just...
Yeah. I can see how it might get a little bit tedious after a while, but it's one of those things that, like, it gets the music brain going. Mm-hmm. And you're always like, oh, what scale is he using now? How is he going to, solo and work around this riff? It's just super interesting. It sounds catchy as hell, too, but it's really interesting on a conceptual level, too. So it ticks all the boxes for me, personally.
Yeah, you're crazy, Nate. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just Nate.
Odd man out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like you go from Dave Mustaine soloing to Marty Friedman soloing. It's like running and then running smack into a wall. I think he sticks
How
out
so?
with the thumb.
How so, would you say?
Like, he doesn't have the attack.
That's why
I don't think he's trying to do that, though, is the whole thing. Even with his solos, he's trying to compliment Dave, not copy what he's doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is what he should be doing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, Chris Poland is such a unique guitar player. When they were like attacking each other with their solos, it worked for them, but Nick Menz isn't that type of player. But like we said earlier too, this is almost like a totally different band. So
right,
yeah.
No, I know. It's like comparing the two Maidens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Friedman's solos, unlike most thrash guitar, I'm looking at you, Forbidden, it has character to it. You know, the solos are, you know, super, super interesting all the time, and I hate to keep going back to that one word, but it's just fascinating seeing how, you know, a guy can come up with stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's not what I want from Megadeth.
Yeah.
Like, I liked Hawaii, Marty Friedman's other band, and they were kind of speed metal-y.
What was your first Megadeth album, Nate?
I think it was Rust in Peace. Either that or Peace Cells. I can't remember. I don't know. I heard, like, Holy Wars, and then I heard, like, Peace Cells, and then, like, song by song, you know?
Yeah. All right, since you mentioned Forbidden, Evan, we will go to Forbidden. Twisted into Form.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a great
Forbidden
album.
just really functions well as a unit, do it.
Yes, they do. This
Forbidden's
is the first
a
album
great
I've ever heard.
band, and my only complaint I have about this album, and I'll just say it now and get it right out of the way, is the production could be a little bit better. And I honestly never really thought about it before, but listening to all three of them today, it's like, damn, they really got fucking shortchanged on this a little bit.
Yeah, because after this, they pretty much just went into obscurity.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, and then the production is so bad or flat in a couple of spots, it almost makes it sound sloppy, but it isn't. It's just you can't really hear what they're doing.
It's just so brick-walled, too. Like, I like the guitar tone on its own, but it doesn't fit in, especially for this genre music, where everything has to be so percussive. It's like, you know, your guitar should be like you're being slashed with a bunch of knives, not hitting your head against a brick wall.
I will say, the drums and the vocals sound good on it.
Yeah, I never really had a problem with the production on this album.
Oh, it's brick-walled to hell, just like Evan said.
Yeah. That's the only thing. But yeah, the tone, I think, is crushing, just not for thrash metal.
But this is the first one I ever started out with. A friend of mine gave me a copy of it, a cassette, and I was just blown away because it's got everything I like in it. It's fast, it's got double bass stuff, really thrashy guitars, and then it's got the operatic kind of style vocals, and it fits. It's my favorite type of thrash metal. I don't like the growling type stuff, but Forbidden is just awesome to me. Infinite, great opening track, Out of Body, Out of Mind. Step by Step, Twisted into Form. Almost every single song on here is like just awesome. One Foot in Hell is probably my second favorite Forbidden song. It's a great way to end the album.
I like Infinite probably as much as I like Holy Wars, just because of Russ's singing.
Yeah.
I think to kind of go up what you said, Wayne, it has all that stuff, but just for me, it just seems like the elements don't come together. It's like the same problem. I know that Nate and I really disagree with this, or about this band, but it seems like just kind of Violence. I have the same complaints, you know, with this album that I do with Violence, where like they have all the elements, they have excellent singing, they have excellent playing when it comes to the instruments, they have excellent songwriting and excellent riffs, but it just seems like it's a victim of its own ambition. Like there's so much dead space on this album. Like I can't remember. I've been listening to this album like straight for a week, and I can't remember a damn thing off rip.
Really?
Yeah, it's a good song. Like I enjoy it whenever I'm listening to it, but it just gets so unmemorable for some reason.
The second half of the album,
sure.
I can see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the fuck you're talking about with Violence, but that's how I feel about Testament. So
I can see the connection.
I agree with Evan about Violence. I don't agree as it applies to Forbidden, but that's...
Yeah. It's also just keep in mind, too, that, like, you know, I have a very long relationship with Megadeth. Like, I went through a huge thrash phase a number of years ago, and Rust in Peace was one of the few albums that really stuck with me when I was out of it. And I've always appreciated Jeff Waters as a musician, but Forbidden was the one that I never really gave a listen to up until, like, a week ago when Nate invited me on this. So I got all the albums from this that I didn't have before. And I've given Forbidden easily the most time, you know, in preparation for this. but they've left the least impression. And ironically, too, I have the most stuff to say about these guys as well.
Yeah.
But it's just like, the the memorability of the music is just not there for me, and I'm not sure why, because it's so good.
I can understand about what you mean about R.I.P. though. I mean, yes. I got both this and the first album when I was about 16, and I used to listen to them constantly, so I've lived with this for a super long time. So I remember some of the lyric lines and shit after about 20 years. But are they really memorable? No, not really. And honestly, it's about 2 minutes too long. They meander way too much in the middle section, and they lose you, which is unfortunate because One Foot in Hell is about 6 minutes long, and it's one of the best songs they've ever done.
That song has to be the most tightly written off the whole album. Like, I think Infinite's probably the best one, but that one has a lot of dead time, too, especially right after the solos.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I never really thought about that before, because I really enjoy the back and forth of the rhythm section on that, but you're right, there really isn't much going on there.
Like, if they cut all those parts by half and just arranged them in a more interesting way and kept the energy going, because it really gets bogged down, especially when it's going really slow. Like, when you got Paul Bostaff just attacking the toms, they're trying to sound very big and epic, but it just sounds lethargic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Wow.
That's interesting. I never thought of it that way before.
Maybe.
Yeah, I got to disagree with that one, but that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah,
it is.
Have you agree with you on Green?
What?
Yeah, well, that's a totally different fucking band. It's like Pantera.
Yeah. Right.
Did you ever give the first album a listen, Forbidden Evil?
Forbidden Evil.
Not really as much, but every song that I've heard off of it, I've absolutely loved, though.
Yeah, though that's a better album. It is a heavier album.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. I have to listen to this one to refresh my memory of it. I do think Forbidden Evil is the better one, but this one is great too.
Yeah.
Forbidden Evil also was Marching into Fire, so I mean that's both points for me.
Honestly, though, like the best 3 songs on this are originally from demos they started writing around the time of the first album that they refined by playing them on their first tour. Which are One Foot in Hell, Infinite, and Out of Body, Out of Mind.
Really? Twisted into Form the title track has to be my favorite off this one, though.
Oh,
and it's ironic because I think that it seems like it shouldn't work, especially with the way that I described the band and how the elements come together, but it does surprisingly well, at least on that song. It's just everything, like it seems so busy, whereas the rest of the album just seems cluttered. There's like a through line to the songwriting. There's always something to latch onto, and all the other songs lack that one thing to latch onto. It just seems like everyone's trying to go 100% all the time, and no one knows when to kind of pull back and let, a catchy part or a great part come through.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with you on that.
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying, but for me, whenever something loses its ability to be latched onto, something else comes in to re-grab my attention.
Yeah, no, and that's what's really working for these guys too. But you have to always kind of leapfrog between parts with this. Whereas like Annihilator, everything works together so well. There are a lot of Megadeth songs that work like that as well, But it's just not happening, at least for me on this one.
Like Annihilator is like a tightly knitted sweater. Megadeth is like a PB&J sandwich, and this is like a random fucking Legos put together.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really that's a good way to put things. Way of saying it, yeah.
But I don't know, maybe
it's like airtight, dude.
Oh yeah, it is. There's
not a misplaced note.
No,
exactly. That's the appeal of them. I just think that Twisted into Form really became a victim of its own ambition. Like, I'm in a Moonsorrow t-shirt. My favorite song is a half an hour long, for crying out loud. But I just think that like if they cut 5 or 6 minutes off of Twisted, that would be an excellent record.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens with some songs. Some songs could be 7 minutes long, and it feels like it's only like 3 minutes because it's that good. And then you got songs that go 6 minutes, and they feel like they're about half hour long. So
yeah.
Although I have to say, I would consider this one more the tightly knitted sweater as opposed to Neverland. Jeff Waters might make it sound really great altogether, but when Forbidden meanders a little bit, it still works as part of the song. It doesn't make me go, this sucks. When does it get to the next guitar riff,
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way too. But only because I've known or I've listened to Forbidden a lot longer than I listened to Annihilator. I'm more familiar with Forbidden.
Same here. But, yeah.
That's why I think even if you listen to Forbidden a little bit longer, maybe 2 weeks, no, a few months.
Yeah.
But if you listen, the longer you listen to it, I think maybe you'll open up to a little bit more. I don't know.
Let's have an episode about Forbidden like 3 months down the line, and then my opinion will be like completely different.
Yeah, we should do a Forbidden show. Forbidden's like one of those hidden gem bands, I think.
Yeah,
and people know them, but they don't
really. They're great. Yeah. No, they're great though. I mean, live too. Like live is where they really shine. Like every song off Twisted, every song done live I think is so much better than the record.
Yeah. What were you saying, Greg, before I cut you off?
Well, I even like Distortion in Green actually.
I do too.
Very, very different from these, but I also took the bass player's niece out a couple of times.
Oh wow.
Yeah, a couple of them are from New Jersey originally.
Oh, that's cool. Any stories?
No, I only met him once. Nice enough guy. But...
I'm talking about the niece.
I don't know. I was on drugs.
Just make something up.
Yeah.
She was cute.
Actually, talking about Distortion, my favorite song is Feed the Hand. That's actually my favorite Forbidden song is Feed the Hand.
Really?
Yeah. For some reason, I really, really, really like that song. It's a cool song.
It's a good one. But...
It's completely, those two albums is completely different from the first two albums.
Yeah.
It doesn't even sound like the same band. Yeah. Very,
Omega Wave was kind of boring, though.
Yeah, they tried to go back to the first two albums, but it didn't work that well. But all right, so let's give Forbidden Twisted into Form. What are we gonna give? 0 to 10.
I'm gonna give it 7.5.
I didn't tell you to go first. We have a guest. The guests go first, you prick. Evan.
Yeah. Overall, I'd say a strong 7. Just in music in general, I really liked it. It still had some things they were still trying to figure out their sound. It seems like, but they definitely have something really cool going on. And I'm glad I got it for this podcast, and I'm going to listen to it a lot more.
Yeah, definitely give it some more listens. Some good shit on there.
Yep.
Greg?
Yeah.
I give it an 8.5. There's a couple of things that bother me that keep it from being rated higher, but it's an excellent record.
Yeah, I'm actually going to do the same.
And I love the guitar playing on it.
They have 2 instrumentals on there. It's like 2. We need 2 instrumentals.
Well, Spiral Depression, I think, works really well with Tossed Away, but you could lose Parting of the Ways and just have it start off with it.
Yes!
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that would make it a better record, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, Nate, what were you giving it? Because I wasn't listening to you the first time.
I think I'll give it an 8.
An 8? All right.
And, you would think for somebody that likes Disney stuff so much, he'd have more manners.
Annihilator. Neverland. Evan.
That's a hard one. Probably 8. Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of homogenous throughout, but aside from that, it's tightly written. The guitar playing is great, and it's a fun record. And Craft Dinner. How can you beat that song?
Yeah.
There's plenty of better songs than that one.
You are wrong.
No, I'm not. Greg.
This one I'd have to give a 7, partially because of what Evan said about it being too homogenous. The memorable tracks are really, really great, but there's a few songs on there that are just, instantly in one ear and out the other than some of his leads and riffs.
Yep. I'm agreeing with you on this as well.
Yeah. But
Go ahead, what were you saying?
The writing and the playing on it is excellent. They they definitely had the sound of their attack refined, but he could have worked on his songwriting a little bit.
Yeah, yep, exactly. I'm doing the same as you, number 7. And like I always said, the music is great. Lyrics are just kind of terrible at some spots, but
I was going to give it a 7, but Kraft Dinner makes me give it a 7.5. I love it. Just because I saw that YouTube comment that said all rise to the Canadian national anthem.
They got in trouble because it was supposed to be Kraft Dinner, so they got in trouble for doing Kraft.
No.
So they had to change it, didn't they?
No.
I thought that's what I heard.
No, that is a common rumor. That is actually a misconception.
Well, I'm glad you're on the show.
They wrote it and sung it as they pronounce it in Canada because of their accents. The T gets dropped off, and when you ever talk to a Canadian and you hear them say it, they say it as Kraft Dinner.
I did not know that. I'm glad you're on the show. This is why I tell you to stay. Because he constantly wants to leave. I say, you have to stay because you only want to know shit.
Oh, when are boy going to cover it?
I never seriously want to leave. It's just some days I'm really fucking baked and I'm like, that's stupid. Let me watch more Ninja Turtles.
Dude, I want Voivod to cover it and have it be La Kraft Dinner.
We don't need that.
Dude, that would be great. I ought to message Chewy about that. Tell him to figure out a horn arrangement for it too.
Yeah.
Megadeth, Rust in Peace.
9 out of 10. I just love this album. Even like the parts that I couldn't get into at first, I just listened to it so many times.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just there's always something to get out of it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Good job, Dave and company.
Greg.
Yeah, I got to give it a 9 as well. There's a couple little goofy things that keep it from being a perfect album, but it's an excellent record and a really solid one, and definitely deserves all the praise that it gets. But the first 4 Megadeth albums, they're like burned in my DNA. I listened to all of them so many times.
Yeah. Me too.
I will say though, the one line on this record that's kind of tough for me to listen to without cracking a smile is during "Take No Prisoners" when he goes, "Take no shit."
Yes, that is funny.
Sounds like a pissed off kid that got passed over by the ice cream man.
I'm agreeing with both of you. I'm going to give it a 9 as well. Since it's my first Megadeth album, it's the one that made the biggest impression on me. And I know this album from like the back of my hand. I used to play drums. This is how I learned how to play drums, like with the heavy, Nick Menza style drums. So very meaningful album to me.
As I always say, the decline of Megadeth started when Dave started wearing those gay-ass flowery shirts.
Yeah, yeah.
And Rusty is where he started wearing those gay-ass flowery shirts.
Oh, jeez. No, it wasn't.
It was.
Was it?
Oh, yeah, it was. 90 through 91. He started wearing those, like, deep V-cut.
He's wearing the
big
sleeve shirt on that way.
No, I was going to say, I don't think he started doing it until the tour,
Yeah.
I meant live. Because that's what really matters. But
whatever. If you're gonna fucking grade a band over that, get a life. Come on.
I like a lot about this album, but there's too many just minor complaints, just completely amalgamating snowball. Giving it like an 8, 7.5. I like the first 2 Megadeth albums that much more. I'd rate either of them a 10.
Oh, so would I, and those were my first 2, and I love them, but,
for me, it's like Megadeth.
We're not comparing the 2 of them.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, no matter what you rated it, it didn't matter because Megadeth still won.
Yeah, I know. I knew it would win. I knew it would win.
I knew that was going to win. I mean, come on. This is classic. This is a masterpiece. You know? It's gold, man.
Although I would say, although I agree that Megadeth is the best out of these three, if I was forced to choose, I would take Twisted in a Form. If I could only have one out of the three. Yeah. But that's just because, as great of a Megadeth album as it is, it's not my favorite Megadeth album, but this is one of my favorite Forbidden records.
Yeah. So, good picks, Nate.
Thank you.
As I really didn't have to listen too much intently to these albums because I knew them so well anyway. So these are the ones I like to do. Not much work involved.
I did have to go back and listen to Annihilator, but that was
I liked Neverland before more than I remembered.
Like I said,
the second half of that album was much stronger than I remembered it being.
Yeah,
I have to say.
Yeah. No, I bought, the Annihilator and Forbidden records for the show, and I definitely don't regret that at all.
Very
Some
good.
of the, best
now,
20
where did you buy it?
What?
Did you buy the CD?
No, just iTunes, because I was at work listening to my phone, so I'm sorry.
You are part of the problem.
I'm sorry.
Well, if he bought a $30
out
out-of-print CD from somebody on eBay, Wayne, none of the fucking money goes to the band anyway. So does it really matter? He bought it on
you guys
iTunes
buy these like
$120
records that none of it goes to the fucking band.
Yeah. Actually, all these albums I bought were used, so that go real.
Exactly. I buy a ton of used albums.
But you didn't hear that from me. But thank you very much, Evan, for joining the show. Had a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, this was great.
Very knowledgeable guy, especially with being a guitar player, and we're talking about some really good guitar players on these albums.
Oh yeah, and since I haven't had it yet, here's my Voivod reference for the show. I got a new coaster.
Oh God!
Nice. Just launches into killing technology.
All right.
Yeah. God, I love that song.
We need some more guitarists on the show. Thank you. Good night. All right. ratsaladreview.com. Please buy a t-shirt. We're going to have some new t-shirts made. I had a really cool idea with the three of us on it. I'll tell you after.
Was that a drawing of me when I did the shirt bikini?
Get out of here.
No.
Oh, bummer.
No, this will be kind of cool, I think. I think you'll dig the idea I got. Anything else? Oh, find us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. Subscribe to YouTube. And please follow Major M Band. Major
Twitter.
Major Malfunction.
So we can get back to goddamn shows already.
Have you ever played a show?
We had some lined up, but then they got canceled.
Fuckers aren't wearing masks in the pandemic days.
Well, I'm talking about before the pandemic.
No, we didn't get a chance to because it's like, fuck. And I want to go back to shows. I want to start playing shows. I'm sick of this shit.
Yeah, me too. I'm really sick of this. Good night, everybody. See you next week.
Care, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
What?